This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin FREAKIN.
Boy, have I made some people mad at me today. It has been a wild day, quite possibly here on this show tonight. Someone has threatened my life. They've told me that they are on their way to see me. Perhaps he could pop through that door any moment. He's going to speak to me face to face. I told him he could call into the show. That's the thing. These dumb fuck right-wingers, they want to threaten my life. They want to get violent with me. No. If you really want to get under my skin, call into this show, 917-830-4359. If you can use some logic and make me look stupid, that will embarrass me more than anything. Beat me at my own game, if you can. That is what I'm challenging you to do. 917-830-4359. You can hop in the Discord. We'll chat in there. If I see you on a thread calling Joe Biden a pedophile, be careful. If I find out that you were arrested for raping a child, I will post that shit in the thread. Call in. Tell me I'm a dumb fuck. Tell me I'm stupid. I dare you. But no. Maybe we will get lucky and he'll bust in here and try to whip my ass or some shit. Went through every post on my, and this isn't the child molester, this is a different guy. Went through like every post on my Facebook calling me a coward today. I'm right here, sir. I'm right here. Every night, 8 p.m. Eastern, I show up, same place, same time. Same phone number. Please, I'm begging you. If you really want to get under my skin, call in and talk with some goddamn sense. Foon-sped. Right-wingers just want to be foon-sped. The bullshit that comports with their already held beliefs. I don't know. I'm feeling frisky tonight. Smoke them if you got them. We've got a jam-packed show. We're going to find out if Claudia Conway is okay. We checked in with her last week. Apparently, shit's gone south with her and Kellyanne. Who knows what's happened since they vacated the White House. We're going to check in with them. We've got some video that she's posted to TikTok that's kind of worrying some people. Democrats are wanting an investigation into Senators Hawley and Cruz for their roles in the Capitol insurrection. We're going to talk about some of the things that Biden has initiated through executive orders. So far, he's done some decent things. Also, it seems that he has removed the button that summons a Diet Coke to the Oval Office. We'll talk about that. The newest right-wing grift is the Patriot Party. And there's plenty of merchandise out there that you can purchase. Plus, we're going to hear from Arnold Schwarzenegger telling you to take your COVID vaccine on the 1-year anniversary of the first detected case of COVID in the United States. We are 1 year on. And that probably wasn't the first day that COVID was here in the United States. The first detected case 1 year ago today. We're going to talk about all that, but we're going to start off with, I know. I'm sorry. I wish I didn't have to do this. Mitch McConnell. I guess we're going to start off with an ad here. This is Mitch McConnell speaking on the Senate floor earlier today.
The quorum call be dispensed with.
Without objection.
For this 117th Congress, the American people chose an evenly split Senate, 50 Republicans and 50 Democrats. With the election of Vice President Harris, that means the Democratic leader will act as majority leader. So I want to congratulate my colleague from New York. His pride and emotion were palpable yesterday as this self-described kid from Brooklyn and son of an exterminator and a housewife became the first Jewish member of Congress to lead either chamber, an historic milestone.
I thought Chuck Schumer was the Senate Majority Leader.
20 years ago, faced with the same scenario.
What, like 2008 to when did they lose the Senate? 2012?
Could function.
Or did they hold on to it until?
The Democratic leader and I are discussing a similar agreement now. I've been heartened to hear my colleague say he wants the same rules from the 2000s to apply today. Because certainly 20 years ago, there was no talk, none whatsoever, of tearing down longstanding minority rights on legislation. The legislative filibuster is a crucial part of the Senate. Leading Democrats like President Biden himself have long defended it. Democrats themselves just spent 6 years using it literally to block bills from Senator Tim Scott's police reform to coronavirus relief. And less than 4 years ago, when it was Republicans who held the Senate, the House, and the presidency, 27 current Democrats, plus Vice President Harris, signed a letter insisting this longstanding rule should not be broken. So if the talk of unity and common ground is to have meaning, and certainly if the rules from 20 years ago are to be our guide, then I cannot imagine the Democratic leader would rather hold up the power-sharing agreement than simply reaffirm that his side won't be breaking this standing rule of the Senate. I appreciate our ongoing good faith discussions and look forward to finding this.
Oh, fucking Harry Reid. I forgot about Harry Reid.
Our side takes a great deal of pride in the accomplishments that 3 consecutive Republican Senates have delivered.
Schumer was the whip. That's correct.
In 2014, our majority was elected to check and balance the last years of a lame duck presidency. In 2016, we were reelected to help ignite a real all-American economic comeback, rebuild and modernize our military, and fight for the forgotten corners of our country.
He is very hard to listen to.
Together with the Trump administration and a Republican House, we did just that.
This is a 7. He made a lot of news today. This is a 7-minute clip. I'm hoping he is going to sum up everything I wanted to talk about in this one clip, so we don't have to hear from him again. This video is titled "Biden Took Several Big Steps in the Wrong Direction on Day One." Of course, Mitch McConnell would think that.
In 2018, we were rehired again on those strong results, especially the historic job market for American workers and our commitment to the judiciary. And now, even as voters choose...
Everybody's like, turn Mitch McConnell off.
They simultaneously shrunk Democrats' House majority.
Please stick with me. We got some really fun stories.
The 2020 election was far from a sweeping...
This shit is important. He talks about some really important shit that we're going to talk about
as
here.
any election we've seen in modern history. The American people stunned the so-called experts with the number of Republicans they sent to the House and to the Senate to make sure common sense conservative values have a powerful say in the government. So our side is ready to share ideas and work with the Biden administration, applying common sense to find
So
common
one of the
ground
things is he's wanting a joint
common good.
governing
But when our
agreement.
Democratic friends depart from common sense, when they retreat from common ground, when their proposals would harm the common good, then we'll use the power the American people have given us to push for what we think is right.
He has demanded
On the Biden administration's very first day,
the
it took
filibuster
several
be
big steps
protected
in the wrong direction.
in their governing agreement
President
because there are
Reader
still
failed Paris
Republicans
climate agreement, a terrible
that are
program
overseeing
set us up for
committees
self-inflicted
because they
major
haven't
economic
passed this
pain on
governing
American
agreement.
families. with no assurance that China or Russia would honor their commitments. In fact, the U.S. has already been reducing carbon emissions, while China and other nations in the agreement have kept increasing theirs. Rejoining will just set us up to kill American jobs while our competitors continue to roar on by. The President also unilaterally canceled the Keystone XL pipeline.
Good. We all agree that that is bad.
Jobs, including union jobs, disappoint our.
Thank God he kept his promise on that one. But I've been told that there's actually there's another proposal for a green version of the pipeline.
Prime Minister Trudeau's support and investment in North American energy. Even the Obama State Department concluded it would not harm the climate. But because canceling a pipeline project just feels like the green thing to do, the new administration killed all these jobs. It was like 35 permanent jobs in the pipeline. The new
He's
administration
bullshitting
also sketched out a massive proposal for blanket amnesty that would gut enforcement of American laws while creating huge new incentives for people to rush here.
And I hear so many times that right-wingers are like, fear-mongering. This all fucking Republicans do.
Crisis on our border and privilege powerful.
You're exactly right.
Ahead of American workers. And for all the talk about norms within government, last night brought a truly unprecedented move at the National Labor Relations Board. The President fired the board's independent general counsel.
He was a Trump lackey.
The end of his term. Even left-wing activists call the unprecedented move aggressive.
Good. Yes. Good. Thank God. Joe Biden is actually coming in and doing some things you're going to agree with. We're going to cover it here in just a second.
Focus his administration on creating good-paying American jobs, not sacrificing our people's livelihoods to liberal symbolism. Senate Republicans will be ready, willing, and eager to help make that happen.
All right, so he did not talk about impeachment. That was the next thing I was going to get to. So he has called on Republicans to push Senate trial for Donald Trump back into February. McConnell reportedly wants to ask Schumer to delay the start of Trump's impeachment trial until February. McConnell first floated the idea during a conference with the Senate Republican caucus. The report said it's not clear when in February the Kentucky Republican would request the trial begin. The Democratic-controlled Senate faces the unique task of mapping out an impeachment trial for the former president while moving to confirm President Joe Biden's cabinet picks. And that's another thing that we need to talk about with the governing agreement. They're not able to take control of all the committees yet. So the Republicans are still trying to gum up the works of what the Democrats are able to do, even though the Democrats have total control. When asked Thursday if she could provide clarity on when the article would be forwarded to the upper chamber, Pelosi said she would talk to House impeachment managers about it in the next few days, but declined to provide further details. So we don't exactly know when the House is actually going to send the articles of impeachment up. But we do know that the House had another set of articles of impeachment filed, this time by a Republican congressperson against Joe Biden.
A Republican lawmaker is attempting to impeach new US President Joe Biden already. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene this morning filed 2 articles of impeachment against President Biden. They allege abuse of power when he served as vice president. She says Biden withheld billions of dollars in US aid to Ukraine in order to prevent an investigation into his son's business dealings in the country. The impeachment push is unlikely to succeed given the Democrats' control of both houses.
And the fact that the accusation is patently false. The writer for The Intercept, who was at the New York Times at the time, said that Republicans twisted the story. He was trying to get a prosecutor fired that wasn't doing enough to prosecute the company that his son worked for. It's the exact opposite of what the Republicans are alleging. That information is readily available. Lindsey Graham, who allegedly Trump referred to as a pussy in the final days of his presidency. So, Pussy Graham says Representative Boebert should sue Democrats for slander over the Capitol tour suspicion. Now, Boebert has stated that that was her family that she was showing around, that it wasn't insurrectionists. So she has gone on record now confirming that she was indeed giving tours around the Capitol. I have a hair that's like poking me right in the eye. Freshman GOP lawmaker said she was just showing her family around the Capitol. Oh, we've got video here.
The biggest mistake women can make when it comes to reducing wrinkles.
I thought that was Trump for a moment. That kind of freaked me out.
And Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, outgoing head of the Senate Judiciary Committee and incoming ranking member of the Senate Budget Committee. Great to have you here this afternoon, sir, and welcome to America Reports.
Thank you.
I'll start first.
Lindsey, you can be a pussy or you can be a patriot.
That Jeff Bezos and Amazon put politics ahead of public health. Should there be some sort of accountability there?
I don't know what kind of.
Oh, this is the vaccine shit. We're not gonna listen to 7 minutes of Lindsey Graham.
Bless.
Is there?
Is Jeff Bezos
And forget the people.
under the law?
Here we go. Let's talk about
The
impeachment.
Senate will drop everything, and we'll move to court of impeachment. And my hope is that we will do this quickly. If the articles come over, it shouldn't be drug out. There's not a whole lot of facts to be discussed. You know what happened.
No, there's not. But one allegedly McConnell's reasoning is to give Trump time to prepare, but I don't think Trump's going to be able to muster any kind of legal defense.
Bad for the country as a whole.
He's toxic.
My hope is that if we do get the articles of impeachment, that we move forward quickly. We're not going to do two things at once. We're not going to enact the Biden agenda in the morning, impeach President Trump in the afternoon. If the articles come to the Senate, we will focus on them exclusively. I look forward to making the argument that
that's not. By the way, that's not his call.
Quick follow-up on that, Senator. Do you mean no witnesses, no evidence? Do you mean that quickly?
That'd be up to the presenters. If I'm the Trump team, I don't know if you need any witnesses here. My belief is that what the president
witnesses to what?
Rally is not incitement under the law, that the people who defiled the Capitol made a conscious choice to do so. They should be held accountable. And the question that needs to be asked,
and it's not just that speech in the morning. It's the weeks and weeks.
How could an unarmed
of just false claims
after 9/11
ramming these motherfuckers up?
That to me needs to be talked about a lot, not just during impeachment, but afterwards. How could it be 20 years after 9/11, a group of unarmed people could literally take over the Capitol during a joint session of Congress?
It was an
I'd
inside
like to
job.
See what she says about that.
Senator, some Democrats are accusing Republicans of giving
Here we
reconnaissance
go.
tours to people in the days ahead of the riot there on
Tell us about Boebert.
Congressman Steve Cohen accusing Lauren Boebert, Republican of Colorado, of doing that. Let's listen to what Cohen said and then what Boebert said.
We saw Congressman Boebert taking a group of people for a tour. Now, whether they were people that were involved in the insurrection or not, I do not know.
These claims are just ridiculous. It's part of a laundry list of conspiracy theories that the Democrats are heavily involved with.
She's a QAnon.
Woman Boebert, Senator Graham says that she was showing family around, and Congressman Cohen, you could barely hear him there, but he says whether these were people that were involved in the insurrection or not, I do not know, yet they're throwing these accusations around.
Yeah, Congressman Cohen from Tennessee has been a very destructive voice in all of this. He basically accused every white member of the National Guard of being a Trump supporter that had to be checked out in terms of their ability to defend the Capitol. I want to thank
They just say outrageous things and they know they're going to get away with it.
Flawless. If I were her, I would sue the guy for slander and make him give a public apology. I can't think of a worse thing to say about a fellow American than they were in on.
Now he knows better.
I would never say that unless I.
Lindsey Graham's a lawyer, right? Surely he knows.
That we have left. You've seen the number of executive actions.
Suing a public figure for slander
Of office. What concerns you?
is impossible.
So far?
Well, he doesn't have the ability or doesn't have the will.
Especially when the allegation might quite possibly be true.
I think are going to make us.
Well, I mean, is true. She admitted to it. She admitted she gave tours.
That's a political debate. President Biden could, by picking up the phone, stand down impeachment. He could say to Speaker Pelosi, President Trump is in Florida. I'm ready to move on. It's time for the country to move on.
I don't doubt that Biden does want to move on. The problem is
or the willingness to unify.
Look, it has been what 6, 7, 8 years now being called a cuck, a libtard,
unconstitutional effort to
baby killer by these people. There's no moving on.
behind us.
Senator Lindsey Graham, appreciate your time this afternoon. Thank you.
And I'm sure Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, they'd love to move on. I'm sure Joe Biden would love to move on. It's the constituency that's saying, no, sirs. There's not going to be any moving on. Luckily, we have some young blood in Congress speaking up. Democrats. Cock doesn't have to be a bad word. You're right, man. Like, they're the ones using it in a derogatory fashion. I do not care if you want to get cocked. A lot of people, because I don't mind watching my partner get fucked, a lot of people think I'm a cock. I'm not. Cock implies it's like you're into like the embarrassment and you want like your face like rubbed in it. No. I'm like a loving thing. Like, please, fuck my partner. Cock is not a bad thing. I will not kink shame anybody. Unless you're a child molester. Like Libertarian John or Maddie B who called in the other day. I need to tell that story and show the screenshots, don't I? We'll get to that. Democrats request investigation of Hawley and Cruz after deadly Capitol riots. 7 Democratic senators filed a complaint urging the Senate Ethics Committee to investigate GOP Senators Cruz and Hawley's effort to overturn the presidential election results. Let's see here. After the Capitol was secured and lawmakers resumed the session, Cruz and Hawley, along with other Senate Republicans, voted against Arizona's electoral college results. Even as others who had planned to object decided to vote for the certification following the deadly attack. That is the reason why we had to be here until fucking 3 o'clock in the morning to watch the certification of the results. Live on the stream. By proceeding with their objections to the electors after the violent attack, Senators Cruz and Hawley lent legitimacy to the mob's cause and made future violence more likely, the senators alleged in the letter. The letter was signed by Senators Sheldon Whitehouse, Ron Wyden, Tina Smith, Richard Blumenthal, Mazie Hirono, Tim Kaine. They got some fucking big names on there. Sherrod Brown. So, like, this is gonna go somewhere. Lawmakers are also calling for an investigation into Parler. The House Oversight Head asked FBI to investigate Parler, which is still down. Lost a court case today. I meant to put the story on here. Lost a court case today against Amazon, where they were wanting Amazon. They sued for Amazon to restore their servers. It's so crazy, these right-wingers that always talk about how they love the free market, and they want to sue Amazon in order to make the company go back to hosting them on their servers, after Amazon repeatedly asked them to remove threatening content about their executives, and Parler refused. That is the reason why Parler was kicked from Amazon servers. Not that I'm a fan of Amazon or anything, but there was a reason why they did it. Carolyn Maloney wrote to FBI Director Chris Wray asking him to look at how Parler was used before and during the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol, when pro-Trump extremists stormed the building as Congress was certifying the results of the presidential election. Numerous Parler users have been arrested and charged with threatening violence against elected officials or for their role in participating directly in the January 6th attacks, Maloney wrote. But Parler had trouble staying online in the days immediately following the election, as Amazon, which hosted its servers, cut ties with the company. It's kind of like the final straw. They've been going through this little litigation for months. It has since intermittently come back online with lingering technical difficulties. As far as I know, that's exactly what you get right now. You get a technical difficulties, yep. A couple of different parlays. I like saying that, parlays. Top one here from Sean Hannity. I've spent my entire career fighting for free speech, even for those I strongly disagree with. Oh really, Sean Hannity? Where's your outrage about me being banned from Twitter? You didn't seem to care when I got banned from Twitter 2 years ago, when the Nazis mass reported me for calling them dumb fucks. Be consistent, Sean Hannity. You say you fought for people that you disagree with. I think that's a lie. A number of the January 6 rioters have been charged with posting their activities that day to Parler and major social networking sites popular in the U.S. like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Parler stands alone, however, in that its poor security allowed activists to easily download a significant amount of data and content that its users had posted to the site after the riots until Amazon pulled the plug. Grassroots efforts to mine the data for useful information to give to law enforcement are ongoing. The FBI didn't immediately respond to a request. A who's who of shit starters. Speaking of shit starters, you remember Zip Tie Guy from the Capitol riots? Who was with his mom? I don't know if I've brought up that fact here on the show. He was found to have a stash of guns. Look at this shit. There's evidence that a Nashville man and his mom brought firearms to Washington for the riots. Furthermore, there's evidence that suggests the suspects knew of the legal ramifications of stashed weapons on Capitol grounds before entering the building. FBI agents discovered 15 guns. Eric Munchel and Lisa Eisenhart. And there's all kinds of video of them on the Capitol grounds. Video footage. comes from a camera mounted to Munchell's chest. Literally gave them all the evidence they need to convict them. God damn. Right-wingers are morons. You can get that shirt at the FREAKIN shop. Link in the description of whatever platform you are watching on right now. Let's talk about Joe fucking Biden, shall we? First full day in office. Signed several executive orders yesterday, continued today. Biden revokes Trump report promoting patriotic education. The Trump administration report that aimed to promote patriotic education in schools, but that historians mocked and rejected as political propaganda. And these are the people that every day tell you that, like, oh, they're trying to indoctrinate your kids at schools. They want to indoctrinate your kids. And when they claim indoctrination, it's because you're not subscribing to their fucking mythology. Biden disbanded Donald Trump's presidential 1776 commission and withdrew a report it released on Monday. Trump established the group in September to rally support from white voters, of course, and as a response to the New York Times 1619 Project, which highlights the lasting consequences of slavery in America, tracing the roots of the country back to not our founding, but when slavery was brought to the country. Trump hoped it would be used in classrooms across the nation. The commission glorifies the country's founders, plays down America's role in slavery, condemns the rise of progressive politics, and argues that the civil rights movement ran afoul of the lofty ideals espoused by the founding fathers. By the way, there is no doubt in my mind that if Thomas Jefferson or Benjamin Franklin were alive today, right-wingers would call them libtards. The panel, which included no professional historians of the United States, complained of false and fashionable ideologies that depict the country's story as one of oppression and victimhood. I know the history of the country. It absolutely is one of oppression. I'm sorry facts hurt your feelings. Snowflakes. Biden issues executive order expanding LGBTQ non-discrimination protections. Issued the order Wednesday night that will extend existing federal non-discrimination protections to LGBTQ people. Alfonso David, president of the Human Rights Campaign, the country's largest LGBTQ advocacy group, called it the most substantive, wide-ranging executive order concerning sexual orientation and gender identity ever issued by a United States president. So good job, Joe Biden. I'm going to ride your ass hard. But so far, good job. The order directs all federal agencies to implement the Supreme Court's landmark 2020 decision in Bostock versus Clayton County, Georgia, which established that LGBTQ people are protected from employment discrimination under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. So good job, Joe Biden. Now, here's a little interesting tidbit that reporters learned when they were invited into the Oval Office. The Resolute desk appears to be missing something that it had during the course of Donald Trump's presidency. A button in the Oval Office that provided instant Diet Coke to former President Trump appears to be no more. So hold on, like I've never actually seen pictures of this fucking button. Wait, is it that right in the middle of the fucking desk? So they had to cut a hole into the desk to install a button to get him Diet Coke? Is that what? Or am I wrong? Where's the button at? I'm not exactly sure on this one. Gloriole. Biden's got pins covering that up. So I guess Biden didn't want Diet Coke on command. Maybe he's more of a Sprite guy. The nectar of the gods, some people call it. Okay. Last night, I did not know the proper way to say the new White House press secretary's name. I told you I would find out. So, here is Jen Psaki. And that's kind of a cool name. I called her Sakai. Jen Psaki. That's a really cool name. Jen Psaki today in the White House press briefing.
Both paths to happen at the same time. Would it be preferable to do that first, or are you okay with later, as some Republicans are talking about?
Well, Anita, I think we have been pretty consistent that we believe the timing and the mechanisms for the Congress and the Senate moving forward and holding the former president accountable, we'll leave that to them. And what our biggest priority and focus is ensuring that it doesn't delay the Senate, Congress moving forward in consideration and discussion around the COVID relief package that the president proposed last week.
So there you have it. They're wanting to move forward with the COVID relief package. With the $1,400 checks, there's a status going around today. Where's my check, old man? This on the 1-year anniversary of the first case of coronavirus in the U.S. We are at now 25 million cases. Over 400,000 deaths. They are predicting another 100,000 people to die in the next 3 weeks. And we're at 4,000 a day. Just do the math. It's just astounding. On January 21st, 2020, the U.S. confirmed the first known coronavirus infection in a Washington man who had recently traveled to Wuhan, China. Just 1 year later, the same virus has infected 24.5 million Americans and killed more than 400,000, according to Johns Hopkins University. While subsequent studies have suggested that the coronavirus likely entered the U.S. much earlier, the CDC confirmed the first known case in late January. Though they said the risk of coronavirus to the American public at large remains low at this time. Yeah, sake like the drink. Gin sake. And that's exactly what I said when I heard it. I was like, oh! That makes sense. And also it's really cool. Gin sake. It's a really cool name. And she seems cool, too. I checked out her Twitter earlier. March 2020. But alarms across most of the country weren't sounded until March. And by the end of the month, more than 1,000 deaths were counted in the U.S. And the country became home of the world's most confirmed cases. Whew. Now, Biden's team has stated that the vaccine distribution plan just is pretty much non-existent. So they're coming in. There is no stockpile. So the big worry right now is being able to get second doses, because originally they were supposed to set aside enough for people to have their second dose. The Trump administration decided, they lied, they said there was enough for the second doses in reserves. They lied. They pushed them all out the door. Just put a vaccine in everybody without the second dose in reserve. So now, timing of second COVID vaccine doesn't need to be exact. Just get it, experts say. And this, I hope this isn't another thing where we're going back to where like they lied about mask wearing early on because they were worried about a run on masks, and now they're like, they don't want to put out any information about the vaccine may not be the efficacy of the vaccine in a certain amount of time, because they're just like, go get it. Please get it. The slow rollout of COVID-19 vaccines, including delayed deliveries, states receiving fewer doses than expected, and difficulty scheduling appointments, has led to some consternation, always a fun word, consternation, that people may not be able to get their second dose within the prescribed time frame of 21 to 28 days. While potentially worrisome, public health experts across the country say there's no cause for concern. The CDC, national pharmacy chains, infectious disease experts, and doctors on the front lines say that there is some wiggle room for the second dose, while also emphasizing that it's still essential to get fully vaccinated as soon as possible. There is no maximum interval between the first and second doses for either vaccine, the CDC says on its website. Let's check in with everyone's favorite Republican politician, Arnold Schwarzenegger. The only Republican anybody fucking likes. Arnold, take it away.
Put that needle down.
All done.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, I just got my vaccine, and I will recommend it to anyone and everyone. Come with me if you want to live.
That sounded like a threat. Come with me if you want to live. So from Republican that everybody likes to Republican nobody likes. A Florida bank announced Thursday that it has closed down former President Trump's account, joining a growing list of entities that have cut ties with the former president following the deadly January 6th Capitol riot. In his financial disclosures, Trump had stated he had 2 money market accounts with Banks United. The accounts held somewhere between $5.1 million and $25.2 million. That's a lot of wiggle room right there. I'm like thinking like I got like 200, maybe 250 in the bank, and this dude's like 5.1 million, 25.2 million, somewhere in between there. Holy shit. We no longer have any depository relationship with him, said Banks United, without giving reason for its decision to shutter the accounts. Probably because he's a piece of shit. Now, I had my speculation about Deutsche Bank and why they cut ties with him. They had no use for him to money launder anymore. Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, might be facing suspension, disbarment, an ethics probe, might be in all kinds of trouble. A national lawyers group on Thursday filed an ethics complaint against Rudy Giuliani that asked a New York court to suspend the Trump allies' law license and undertake a review of his role in promoting false election fraud claims that some argue fueled the insurrection at the Capitol. The 18-page ethics complaint from the nonpartisan group Lawyers Defending American Democracy alleges that Giuliani's conduct on behalf of former President Trump crossed ethical boundaries that separate zealous legal advocacy from attorney misconduct.
Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools?
I think you proved that, Rudy. Mr. Giuliani personally advanced and argued claims in court that were frivolous and had no reasonable purpose other than to fuel the extrajudicial campaign of falsehoods. Bravo! Thank you. These fucks deserve to face some sort of repercussions instead of just being able to move on to the next grift. Much like people on the right have moved on to the Patriot Party grift. Despondent Trump fans, that's another word for the MAGA cope, find solace in fantasy of new Patriot Party. This is some of the amazing swag you can get that people are hawking. I guess the Patriot Party's symbol is going to be a lion. Online forums were filled with citations of a Wall Street Journal report that Trump, irritated by a perceived lack of loyalty from Republicans in the aftermath of the Capitol Hill invasion he helped foment, was considering starting his own nationalist political entity. Sounds about white. While it's unknown how serious the incredibly forgetful and famously fickle former president is about the idea, his followers, desperate for a light in the void, latched onto it. All aboard the Patriot Party train. So they've even got a message board called Patriots.win. 'Cause if you ain't a patriot, then you're a stinking commie. I'm well aware I'm white, sir. You're white. But now, despite all this, despite his personal lawyer going to get disbarred, 2 impeachments, talk of starting his own party, Senator Lindsey Graham still hopes that Trump stays the Republican Party leader. The Republican senator said Wednesday during an interview on Fox News, and I tried my best to find it, I could not, if you're wanting to erase Donald Trump from the party, you're going to get erased. He added, but I'm not worried about 2024. I want to help Biden where I can. I want to get this country back on track. Well, thank you. Thank you, Lindsey Graham. One of the reasons why this country is so fucking far off track. It's going to be wild to see what happens. He may very well. Or this Patriot Party just happens to catch fire and they draft him to become the head of it. Not necessarily that it happens as a result of Trump. He's a grifter that just lends his name to things. It's not like he's going to actually go out there and do the active groundwork But if the party comes to fruition, and if there is some kind of groundswell, and it becomes a thing, and everybody else does all the hard work, yes, Trump will jump on that and take full advantage of it. All right, Kellyanne Conway. I'm worried about Claudia. Claudia seems really cool. I know, man. Republicans will fall. But we've lived through this already in our lives a couple of different times. We thought the Republican Party was dead, that there was no way it could come back, and it still fucking finds a way to eke a win out and fuck us all. So I don't know. That kind of sounds a little conspiratory, doesn't it? Maybe I'm a kook.
As a conservative, it's getting harder and harder to not look like a kook.
Rush is right. They're fucking kooks. All right, so Kellyanne Conway. Apparently, Claudia Conway posting some videos that's got some people worried. Posted 2 compilation videos on TikTok that appeared to show her mother screaming at her. She later posted follow-up videos saying she's tried everything, but her parents are too powerful. Oh my God, like they're bosses in a fucking game.
A COVID recap with Kelly. A COVID recap with Kelly.
Taken out here today. You always say, I wish
because then she would.
Ah, shit, I can't.
A COVID recap with Kelly.
Can I full screen it over here? Oh, can I not full screen it if I'm not on TikTok? Shit. Okay. I'll have to make a TikTok account just for this show, you motherfuckers.
You don't fucking listen. What the fuck is wrong with you? When you get coronavirus from the president, everybody got coronavirus from somebody who flew in for that event. It's not true. You didn't get coronavirus from the president. You won't. If you only knew what people thought of you. You don't know, because they know you've got other problems. Take you, by the way. The only place that'll take you, that you weren't going to post about your family anymore. You just lie to everyone, and everybody sees it. Everyone sees it. Grateful bitch. And since you're lucky, your mom's pro-life. Fuck you! It's over! It's over! I thought we who's following you, dumbass.
She said you're lucky your mom's pro-life. Whoa! Kellyanne's going off the fucking deep end.
Recording. You're going to record another fucking thing in your life. It's going for a forensic analysis. One fucking bit for you to tell people I'm a bitch.
What?
What? What? What?
There's something wrong with you.
Yeah,
mocking
there is.
me.
You think I'm mocking you? I'm trying to have a conversation with you. What you've done to yourself?
How old is Claudia? Like, fuck, this is like DHS level abuse shit.
Do you know what you've done to yourself?
I'm 15.
No. You're fucking immature. Before you get it all over the sheets that I cleaned.
She's 15?
Stop. No, you don't ignore me.
That poor child.
And they're paying attention to you because they know that you need extra help.
What'd you call me?
What do you want to know?
Hypo?
Hyper. No, I said hyper. The doctor's hypo. What do you want to know?
Hypo?
Hyper. No, I said hyper. Get my mom, please!
Can you please, Mom?
No, you please! I want you out of here! You were making you mad. Some 15-fucking-year-old made you mad.
Holy shit. What, you're gonna blame the 15-year-old? You've seen Kellyanne Conway. We have documented the George Conway, Kellyanne Conway saga. Is anything... Or are you gonna accuse her of trying to use the TikTok to get famous and shit? Because yes, if you're Kellyanne Conway's kid, why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you be an opportunist? Alright, what were we even watching? Oh, Rand Paul talking about how Joe Biden is secretly saying that all the Republicans are racist.
Please let me know how they'll convince Trump's 75 million voters to give Biden a fresh start and bring Republicans to the table on any policy.
It is Kilmeade, right? Brian Kilmeade.
It's great to talk about America united, but will actions...
As somebody who knows their Fox better than me.
America gets united. So let's look at what President Biden did today. Now he's bringing all 50 states together, right? He signed 17 executive orders. Let's see what's in it. Back to the Paris climate change. I'm sure China and Russia are now complying. He kills the Keystone Pipeline. That was going to help everybody.
They all say the same goddamn thing.
The U.S. energy independent and Canada happy. Stop funding the border wall as the virus.
Oh no, I have not talked about Libertarian John yet. I've been teasing that.
Our way. You've seen the video. Back to the WHO. What have they deserved for this? The World Health Organization, that same group that still has not told us what started the COVID-19 virus and answers to China. Sounds like opening salvos.
I think they have told us, haven't they?
Presidencies of Donald J. Trump. Let's talk about it. Joining me now, Republican Senator
Rand Paul
of Kentucky. Senator Paul, I like the words, most of the speech, but it's all about the actions. What did you get from the 17 executives?
Rand didn't like the words or the speech, I promise you.
This may not surprise you, but I didn't find any of the orders that I agreed with. And I think many of the orders that he came forward with will lead to unemployment. You know, Paris Climate Accord, carbon taxes, all the things he's going to do against our energy industry will cost lots of jobs. Getting rid of the Keystone Pipeline. But also raising the minimum wage to $15, I think will also, the government estimates are close to 4 million people will lose their jobs. Particularly hurt among this are minorities and black teenagers, particularly with.
You know what hurts jobs? Rand Paul's face.
That was, I think, going to help the country. But more than anything, if he thinks he's going to bring the country together by impeaching,
I don't know. I've got a pretty good grand finale. I might have to stop off.
Divide the country further.
And it will be up.
But everything flows so well together. We might have to do it at the very end.
If it doesn't go forward, it would be because of him. He has not mentioned that. He says, let Congress do their job.
Yeah, if he wanted to rise above the...
Honestly, he doesn't sound like he's from fucking Kentucky, does he?
That it's a mistake and will further divide the country. That would be a real statement. That would be a real big thing to do. I don't suspect he will. And so I think these are...
I've never actually researched how he got to Kentucky, though. Ron Paul is from Texas. Was a congressperson from Texas.
Innuendo, calling us white supremacists, calling us racist, calling us every name in the book, calling us people who don't tell the truth. And his...
Now, did you hear anything in Biden's speech? You guys, you watched it with me here. Did you hear him call Rand Paul a white supremacist? I do remember him mentioning the lies, but you know, fucking Trump lied about everything. He was pathological. You can't deny that. Unless you're a liar.
And going forward, we're not going to have manufactured or manipulated truth. Well, that's another way of saying, oh, all of my opponents manufacture and manipulate the truth and are liars. He just said it in a nicer way, but that was really the gist of what he was telling us.
But Senator, doesn't he need you? Doesn't Senator Schumer need Republicans? It's 50-50. I mean, they got a slight majority, but that's not going to get you 60 to pass anything substantial. What are you looking to hear for you to get on board with anything?
I think most importantly, what we have to hear is that he's not going to radically transform the country into some sort of socialist dystopia. And that may sound like, hyperbole.
It sounds absolutely fucking stupid. Unless you're a Fox News viewer. You know who Joe Biden is, 100% bought and paid for by Wall Street, the banks, the credit card industry. He's from Delaware. I don't know if you may not know this. You look at most of the credit card statements, most of the fucking scam shit you get in the mail, it's all from Delaware. Because they've got the loosest financial regulations. But honestly, we're one day in to the Biden administration. Republicans are not taking it well. Let's check in with, what's this guy's name? Stinchfield. I'm not making this up. Stinchfield 1776. Grant Stinchfield. Grant Stinchfield. I'm sorry, if you're going into media, you should probably use a nom de plume. You should probably have a stage name. Believe it or not, Freakin is my real last name. But like if he like, I assume that his name is actually Stenchfield, because you wouldn't just like come up with that. Oh, I know what would be a great name, Stenchfield. By the way, I wanted to be about 10 years ago. I interviewed at a radio station. No, it'd be a little bit further back. About 12 years ago, I interviewed at a radio station, and I had the idea that I wanted to reinvent myself and not be Justin Mullins on the air, but be Justin Hale. Justin Hale. That's one of those smoke 'em if you got 'em. Believe me, if I had my career to do over again, I would indeed be Justin Muffins, which is what fucking something auto-corrected my name to years and years ago. And it cracked me the fuck up. Justin Muffins. People like Justin Muffins. They don't like Justin Freakin. If I had my career to do over again, I would definitely be Justin Muffins. All right. Enough about names. Was it Grant? Grant Stenchfield? Oh my God. I'm completely thrown off now. Everybody likes fucking Muffins. I understand. It's a great name. Grant Stenchfield. If Freakin wasn't tattooed on my arm, if I didn't have logos I've already made, all kinds of branding already, a fucking YouTube channel and everything, I would change and be Justin Muffins. What's up, 16 Tones? All right. Be sure to stick with us here. Find out why AOC skipped the inauguration. Find out the story of the child rapist that called in the other day. This is Greg Stenchfield on Newsmax.
Utmost respect for the office of the presidency. I want Joe Biden to succeed in keeping America safe and prosperous. As I listened to his speech on a day where I so desperately wanted to take a positive and hopeful approach on this show, President Biden made it nearly impossible for me to do so. He claimed the theme of his inauguration.
I use Muffins as my backup Facebook account.
America as a nation in crisis, as a nation somehow needing to be rebuilt.
And if you must know, I used to do this really creative thing where I'd take like the pictures of the news, you know, like the big picture, like I know I had the account when Pelosi did the clap thing to Trump, and I muffined her face. I would muffin all the different news happenings. It was a fun thing I did. I am going to get my tattoo on my arm covered up with a muffin, though. I think that's hilarious.
Built, but that's all a lie.
We'll press forward with speed and urgency.
Is stronger than ever before. We are energy independent as a nation. Peace deals have been struck in the Middle East.
They're not peace deals. They are arms sales.
Best position it has ever been in years. It will allow for a rapid post-virus economic growth. For all of that, we can thank President Donald J. Trump. Yet Joe Biden peddled doom and gloom today.
A cry for survival comes from the planet itself.
4,000 people are dying a day.
Or any more clear. And now, a rise of political extremism, white supremacy, domestic terrorism, that we must
confront. That's what the FBI says is the top terror threat facing the country.
Not on the rise. Neither is domestic terrorism.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. The FBI says the opposite. This guy's lying. What the fuck?
Level described by Joe Biden over and over again? No.
This guy is lying, like me using the name Justin Muffins when I don't like muffins. Like he just straight up flat faults. Yeah, the previous administration had just given up governing, period. They had no plan for the vaccine rollout. They had no plan for anything. Apparently, this week at the White House, it was a complete ghost town. There weren't even any people around. That's why Mike Lindell was able to just walk right into the fucking Oval Office and be able to like, hey, let's have an insurrection, shall we? The domestic terrorists literally invaded the Capitol. You are correct. We saw it. They live in a fucking fantasy world. Oh. Stitchfield, your news stinks.
He mentioned racial justice too many times to count. It is a polarizing political buzzword, and he knows it. And I can promise you, when Joe Biden mentioned domestic terrorism...
Grant, my man, racial justice is only a polarizing topic if you don't want racial justice. What don't you get about that? You definitely look like a white supremacist. Not to judge someone by their looks, though.
He was not referring to Antifa. He was not referring to Black Lives Matter rioters, violent groups who literally continue to terrorize streets across America.
Literally.
For days on end. We watch them destroy everything people work.
They are investigating that.
He chose to focus.
Yes, Stinchfield reeks.
Hour at our nation's capital that does not define.
If you're not banned from Twitter, you should get that trending for me. Stinchfield reeks.
Political extremism. He wasn't talking about self-described socialists that are now members of Congress in our America, Trump's America, our founders' America. Socialism is about...
And they wonder why they get called white supremacists and racists in our America.
As extreme as it gets.
Every disagreement doesn't have to be a cause for total war. And we must reject the culture in which facts themselves are manipulated and even manufactured.
How dare he? He wants to be a unifier. That's what he says. But then he throws
I'm sure a propaganda outlet like Newsmax would have a problem with a president calling on them not to manufacture facts.
The Russian collusion hoax. For years, he fed MSNBC and CNN with lies aimed at smearing President.
Of course, well, that's his audience. He's going to have Marjorie Taylor Greene on. He's going to have Lauren Boebert on.
And he lectures us.
More like Stinksfield.
In one breath, calls us white supremacists in another, and then asks us all to support him.
If you still disagree.
But like he just said white supremacist. He didn't call you a white supremacist. So you saying that he was saying white supremacists applied to you kind of like gives away the game, don't you think? You're actually admitting that you're the white supremacist.
100% on that. But if you mean that...
Because it's like one of those if the shoe fits kind of things, right?
Tell them to knock off impeachment sham 2.0. Tell them to denounce the quest to destroy Newsmax and other center news outlets. Joe Biden, you denounced the corporate blacklists and political persecutions of the president and his supporters. Denounce the social media bans and blacklists.
Isn't that the free market?
Standards you are asking us to accept, because right now, this nation is gripped with fear. But it is not over the virus or the economy. It is over Joe Biden and his big government divisive plans for America.
Okay, so we're going to go from Stinchfield to Ducey. So now we've had like two right-wing political commentators back to back here that you can make funny jokes about their names. Steve Ducey warning, Joe Biden did not assure conservatives they won't be deprogrammed. What? That sounds bonkers. He didn't assure conservatives they won't be deprogrammed. And that is another, that's been going around in the right-wing circles. I don't know if you guys have seen it. They think there's going to be some kind of commission to deprogram Trump supporters. They've specifically, there's like AOC advocated for some sort of media literacy initiative, and that's what they're calling deprogramming Trump supporters. Exactly.
Great start.
So this is Steve Ducey on Fox and Friends. I don't know what those guys, I don't know what their names are.
Did you hear Ben Rhodes, what he said? He called all the Trump supporters. Remember, he was under Obama, Deputy National Security Advisor. And he was on TV saying all the Trump supporters are really an issue of national security. Listen.
I don't even know that I've seen her before. Who is she? She's a new one, and I don't know the other dude. Did they, like, I know before Christmas they had a problem, like the one of them got coronavirus. Have they had an outbreak? Have they had to replace people?
I think the other issue of Homeland Security, as John pointed out, yes, there's a security issue. How do you identify armed militias who are intent on doing harm? But there's a broader societal issue that is going to take many years to detox the disinformation, the lies, the hate that has been spread. A whole segment of the American population has been radicalized by what has happened over the last 4 years and by the fact that Donald Trump is no longer there. They can no longer see Donald Trump kind of representing their grievances in the highest office. I think there's a lot of work to be done to deal with the broader societal issues that go beyond what even national security, Homeland Security professionals could do.
I'm sure there are hateful people on both sides.
I saw nothing wrong with what Ben Rhodes said.
We all know. I don't consider them hateful people. Look at the crowd that was down there in Florida that greeted President Trump. You might disagree with them, but I don't know.
All 35 Keystone Pipeline jobs.
Who has supported him. I'm from the South. A lot of people down in South Carolina think he's wonderful and they like him. And down in Florida, they greeted him. You know, crowds, 75 million people voted for this guy.
They put their lives on the line to come out and see this guy. That's how much they admire him. They're certainly not a fucking cult.
And armed militias are a concern, obviously.
Of course.
But then during the balance of his soundbite, it turned into those many people who support Donald Trump. And said, though, it sounded like, was he talking about the militias? Was he talking about Trump supporters?
Why'd he get all high-pitched? Oh, those many people that support Donald Trump. What's wrong with you, Ducey? You don't usually talk like that.
It kind of sounded like he was talking about those people standing on the street in West Palm Beach yesterday as the president went to Mar-a-Lago from PBI. It sounded like he was talking about those people. And are they a national security issue?
Well,
I don't think so.
I mean, you're Catholic, Steve. A lot of that crowd voted for him because they like his stance on being pro-life. They are good people. They go to church on Sunday.
Damn right it has.
And the left has got to understand that part of
and I'm tired of them like bringing up jobs. Like, there's more people working at fucking Target than there are like working in like the coal industry. There you go. Thank you. They really do have a broad amount of radicalization that has resulted from all this misinformation that we've been pumping out. I have seen it happen firsthand with family members. 20 years of Fox News rots your brain.
Country or those voters before we can move on to unity and come together. Will?
I think they've answered all the questions. They're talking about the people you see on your screen. They're talking about you, who's watching at home. The circle keeps being drawn wider and wider. Make no mistake, when they talk about
who's this jack off?
When they talk about people who have lost their minds, when they talk about people that need to be targeted, they're talking about you. They're not leaving any gray area when it comes to this. And I'd point to one other thing.
Walmart shoppers, you mean, the deplorables?
I think at least half of this country and perhaps more, because that circle will keep getting drawn larger and larger.
Hold on, I was at Walmart the other day. What, is that a problem?
Also, like, their tables, like, they look like they're sitting at kid tables or some shit. I don't like the set. I don't dig this. At least they're doing the social distancing, though.
I'd point to one other thing he said here.
Values, just saying.
I love it, too.
He says this goes beyond what Homeland Security officials can do as well. Focus on that, because it's not just about you. It's about what they want to do.
Yeah, you know, in Joe Biden's speech last night, yesterday, did not hear much about him assuring conservatives that they will not be, to your word, deprogrammed or purged, because, you know, we have seen that in the past. And now, as America starts a new day, a new administration, let's hope they...
And see, he wasn't talking all through his nose there. And what the fuck is he talking about? He didn't assure conservatives that they wouldn't be deprogrammed, an idea that's just fucking ridiculous. All right, the rest of the show is fun shit. And it's going to be about the inauguration. The breakout star from the inauguration, not Lady Gaga, not Garth Brooks. Amanda Gorman. Made an appearance, I think it was with Anderson Cooper last night.
As a country are in right now into words, but today an extraordinary 22-year-old poet did just that. Amanda Gorman is her name. She recited a poem that she wrote for this day, The Hill We Climb. I spoke to her a few moments ago, but first, here's some of what she said today.
When day comes, we ask ourselves,
absolutely killed it.
Light in this never-ending shade. The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace. And the norms and notions of what just isn't always just is. And yet the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. If we're to live up to
she has a speech impediment. I didn't know that.
Won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we've made. That is the promised glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare it. Because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we.
If you go back and watch the stream from yesterday, you can see my jaw drop in real time as she speaks.
Would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy.
I was really stoned, but I was crying at the end too.
Succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated.
The whole ceremony was great.
Yakult contains a probiotic strain.
And if you didn't check out the performances afterwards, Katy Perry doing firework and all the fireworks going off over the mall. Amazing.
Grateful and so humbled. You know, I came here to do the best with the poem that I could, and to just see the support that's been pouring out, I literally can't absorb it all, so I'll be processing it for a while.
Can you just explain why this message today? How did you go about crafting this?
Hey, Lady Gaga was great too.
Well, you know, I did a lot of research ever since I found out in late December that I was going to be the inaugural poet. So that was making sure I read all of the previous inaugural poems, really doing a deep literature dive of other orators who I look up to, whether it be Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln, and how they
do go back and watch Katy Perry.
Feel very divided, and I was around halfway through that process and kind of that research.
Bruce Springsteen was good.
January 6th insurrection happened at the Capitol. And I'm not going to say that that completely, you know, derailed the poem, because
Foo Fighters were good.
Surprised at what had happened. I had seen the signs and the symptoms for a while, and I was not trying to turn a blind eye to that. But what it did is it energized me even more to believe that much more firmly in a message of hope and unity and healing. I felt like that was the type of poem that I needed to write, and it was the type of poem that the country and the world needed to hear.
You need to watch the Katy Perry for the fireworks show, and then the shots of Biden looking over the mall at the fireworks. Very inspiring.
Or was it just the totality of the horror of the insurrection?
I'm a poet, so often I don't work in images, I work in words and text. And so what I was actually doing is, while keeping my mental sanity, looking through...
Also, I think I read that she was 22. I speculated about her age yesterday.
There's a line in the poem that you might have heard, which is, we've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it. And I got that actually from looking through a few tweets and a lot of people being like, wow, this is what happens when people don't want to share the country with the rest of us. And so
I'm not aware of that.
It became a meme on Twitter, and I put that in the poem.
It's so
totally possible.
You're not thinking visual, that you're not, it's not the images that motivate you, it's the text, the words that you come across.
Right.
Inspiring young lady. And I'm glad that I saw so many people saying that they had
more sentimental and special.
ordered her work.
Over the past few years, the ways in which the power of words has been violated and misappropriated. And what I wanted to do is to kind of reclaim poetry as that site in which we can re-purify, re-sanctify not only the Capitol building, which we saw violated, but the power of words. And to
Jenna Bush, as in the daughter of George W. Bush? Jenna Bush has a show? You're blowing my mind here. I didn't know that Jenna Bush had a show. Huh. Yeah, I hadn't heard anything about that. What's this nigga? That sounds completely plausible though. But it's also like she hosts on the Today Show? Mind blown. What was the Today Show? Maybe that was her. I'm assuming she had interviews last night, but I was like, maybe she was. Yeah, I had no clue she was on Today. Does she do a good job? She's been there forever, really? Well, I mean, not like I have a TV service or anything. But as a broadcast professional, I do kind of keep up with what's going on in the industry, and I know the personalities. Yeah, I had no clue Jenna Bush was on. She wasn't the drunk one, was she? I don't remember. Or is she the drunk one? Graduated in 2020. Wow, like amazing. Yeah. Well, didn't one of them get arrested for cocaine or something?
Invest that in kind of the highest office of the land.
I want to read just the last few lines of your poem, and I apologize because I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, you'll fucking butcher it, Anderson. Goddamn.
Rebuild, reconcile, and recover in every known nook of our nation, in every corner called our country. Our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. I got shivers when you said that. I mean, that is what it takes, isn't it? It's bravery. It takes bravery to see it and to be that light.
Right. Well, I think that recitation was great. You know, I should have had you up there with me. That was amazing.
I want to say you got a DUI.
I'm so grateful you brought up the
But that might have not been
line.
for the
Something that
cocaine.
I've been seeing a lot of people repeat. And to be honest, I was concerned of whether I should include that last line of be it at all. I was kind of deliberating between see it, be it, free it. And then I said, you know what, we need all of these things at once. We need that cacophony. We need to realize that hope isn't something that we ask of others. It's something that we have to demand from ourselves. And that's what I wanted the poem to end on.
I had a...
Hell yeah, that's a perfect place for us to end. Yes, Amanda Gorman is fucking amazing. And now I found out that Jenna Bush does a good job on Today's Show. Cool. That's awesome. All right, AOC was not present at the inauguration yesterday. Skipped the inauguration to join a strike. Every day she's proving more and more why she is like the queen. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, however, was not there. Instead, Ocasio-Cortez was attending a Teamsters strike in her home district in the Bronx, passing out hot chocolate and hand warmers to support workers who began striking on Sunday over a breakdown in negotiation. I think we even have pictures of her. We got video on site.
Demanding an end to poverty, demanding an end to war, demanding a better material and just outcome for all people in the United States.
This right here is why I do what I do. Right here. This is why I do what I do. This is why I'm out here. Right here.
And I just want you to know too that you're not just standing up for that baby. You're standing up for babies all across this country. Because just like
This is why they're scared of her.
food workers in every pocket of the United States who deserve more than $1.
That's all they wanted was $1?
Good working worker rights. And that's what we're here to fight for today. So I want you all to know that when you're standing on this line, you're not just asking for $1. You are asking for transformational change for your lives and for the lives of every food worker across this country, for kids of food workers across this country. Because there's a lot of things upside down right now in our economy.
This woman thought this was more important than going to the inauguration. Kudos to her. And now we realize why Bernie was sitting there upset. He wished he could be there with AOC on the front lines.
Can't even get health care themselves or can't even get access to those things themselves.
That ain't right.
That's not right. That's upside down. And so what we're doing here today is taking the upside down and making it right side up.
Yes.
And the only way we do that, we don't do that with just like a politician like myself. We do that with people and collective struggle together. So I come here to just be here shoulder to shoulder with each of you all. And for all of our workers here, for all of our other unions that are operating in solidarity coming out here, thank you for showing up. And for anybody who might be watching or hearing,
Now this is what a politician does. And this is how progressives win. I'm not blaming Bernie. He's in leadership role. He had to be there for the pomp and circumstance. It was expected of him. He was a campaign surrogate. Speaking of Bernie Sanders, you want to see how Fox reacted to his mittens?
File with the help of an expert.
It also helps show the peaceful transfer of power. So this is Fox Business.
In this picture of Bernie Sanders dressed, I'd say rather casually, at President Biden's inauguration. Susan?
I can't say it like you say it. Casually. So casually.
Casually.
Yes.
Can you get a... Are we serious here? Can you get a bobblehead of Bernie in that outfit?
Yes, you can.
Probably can, yeah.
In May this year. So cold, unamused Bernie Sanders.
I think I might have to go order one.
Colorful mittens, bobblehead version, available for pre-order now for $20.
Apparently those mittens were made by a Vermont teacher.
Going through all the hilarious memes of Bernie Sanders. So there's Bernie on a ski lift, Bernie on the moon.
I hadn't even seen any of these. I've seen a million of them today.
But I'm just wondering, what do you think was going through his head when that photograph was taken?
Oh, he's not a suit and tie kind of guy. He doesn't wear capitalist clothing. Super casual is the name.
He doesn't wear capitalist clothing.
Now, you don't remember this, Susan,
Yeah.
but many, many years ago, there was a leader of the British Labour Party called Michael Foot.
Oh.
And he appeared at a memorial service for our dead war heroes. And he appeared with dirty shoes, unshaven, he looked slovenly, and he
Right.
promptly lost the election in a landslide.
But I think
his clothing did it to him.
In this case, Bernie just looks so...
It's a nice coat.
That may have floated through his head, according to some of these memes.
Why are they picking on what he's wearing? I thought they were gonna have fun with it, but they're mean about it. Fucking Fox.
Like raise the minimum wage.
The trouble is you can't see emotion when you're wearing a mask. I doubt that he was smiling, however. That's not Bernie's style. You rarely see socialists smile. They're always angry.
God damn. Okay, all right. I owe you guys a story. On Tuesday night, we had a caller. He called himself Libertarian John. He called into the program. We had an argument, hour and a half, 2 hours. Probably about 40 minutes into it, I really quit giving him any credence and just started really making fun of him. If you would like to go back, it is Tuesday's Troll Patrol. At one point in time during the call, I asked him if he had ever been arrested because I wanted to make a point about the conditions inside of jails. And he told me that he would rather not speak about that topic. The next day, I found out why he did not want to speak about that topic. You weren't even here for the whole thing, were you? You came in late. I talked to him I get going, sometimes things have a natural ending, free form. So the next day I found out what he was arrested for. Somebody informed me that he had had a sexual relationship with a minor and had been arrested for it. So this morning I'm on a post. I see him. I had seen him refer to Joe Biden as a pedo, which I thought was odd. So we'll look in at the. So I found out he's actually a professional wrestler. Goes by the ring name Matty B. He's from the Eastern Kentucky region. But I decided to comment. By the way, someone informed me of what you were arrested for that you didn't want to talk about. Odd seeing you call Joe Biden a pedo. Right-wingers are not only morons, they are disgusting human beings. Talk about projection. Matty B here responds back. Doesn't sound like they gave you accurate information about that if you're saying pedo. Not even close to why I was arrested. If it was, I wouldn't be able to talk to you on anything. You cannot trust local wrestlers. But as you can see right here, I have the mugshot for Matty B. John Matthew Branham. A Somerset man has pleaded not guilty to third-degree rape in connection to his relationship with a minor. John Matthew Branham, 28, of Grand Central Boulevard, was arraigned in Pulaski Circuit Court on Friday morning. He was indicted earlier this month in connection to a case involving a Somerset woman who allowed her minor daughters, it was 2 daughters, the mom got arrested in all this as well. Now, apparently Matty B is out on parole. I saw the active case when he was released, all that good shit. So I would assume he's pled out to a lesser charge. He bragged about how he wasn't on the sex offender registry. Honest to God, this happened to me today. His girlfriend messaged me too. Do you want to see the message from me? Hold on. Okay. So she says, dumbass, the heck are you writing stuff like that on my page for? I'm happy in the relationship I'm in. Low life. Personal comments like this just because you lost a debate. I don't know who the fuck you think you are. Now, anyone that listened to the show, I don't know what the terms of his release were. I don't know what else is going on. But anyone that listens to the show knows for a fact that I did not lose a debate. It wasn't a debate either. It was just me going, no, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, and calling him a moron. Because that's what it is. Right-wingers are morons. Well, that's what he said. He's like, I wouldn't be able to contact you on here. Like that. I don't think that. I showed you the arrest. He has pleaded out to something else and doesn't have. He's not on the registry. She was like 16. Apparently, they claim that she was legal. 16 is the legal age in Kentucky, but there's a thing if you're like 10 years older than that, which is weird. I thought it was like 4 years. I thought like, a 16-year-old is legal if you're 19 or 20 or something. Apparently, it's 10 years because Kentucky is fucked up. So, so that is the story of the guy that called himself Libertarian John, called into the show the other day. Really made an ass of himself. And if you have any right-wing friends that you would like to see be made fun of, please get them to call into the show. I love fielding those calls or in the Discord chat. Hey, if you guys are watching on Twitch, I'm going to send you over to my very good friend, Riverboat Jack. She is wonderful. You will love her. So go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm Justin Freakin. We will see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol. Live.